It's interesting, the Gemara, wait. No. Again, the Gemara says in Nida that right before the conception of a child, the Malach takes that droplet of semen before Hashem, and Hashem pronounces many pronouncements on that droplet. Wise, foolish, healthy, infirm, wealthy, poor. Every pronouncement is made at that, and that's the destiny of that child. It doesn't say how many years, it doesn't say about years, because every child, every person has that. It doesn't discuss then the pronouncement of how many years one is meant to live at that time. It doesn't say that. Could be it is, but it's not relevant because everybody has that same pronouncement, therefore it's irrelevant. No, it doesn't say that. We had the Gemara Shabbos. David HaMelech wanted to know when he would die. So Hashem only revealed to him he will die on a Shabbos. So he asked him, which Shabbos? When? He said that will not be known to mankind. How many years a person will live, it's possible to know. But the exact day that he will die, that day he will not know. Okay? That's the Gemara Shabbos. That's the reason why the Gemara says, David, every Shabbos, he learned in a way where he would not allow himself to be interrupted, even as much as a moment. So the Malach HaMavos couldn't take David. So the Gemara tells over a story. He caused there was like a disturbance. There was a hurricane, literally the equivalent of a hurricane or an earthquake, and that interrupted him, disturbed him, and he took out a moment, and that's when he passed away, David. Okay. Uramini. So the Mishnah says that if you do one mitzvah, metivano, it would be good for the person to extend his life, and he has a share in the world to come. Uramini, elu dvorm she'adam ochel perseim lo mazev keren kemes l'lamabo. Right, the Mishnah and Peah, these are the things one eats the Yusufrucht in this world, and the keren, the principle, remains intact for the world to come. Ve'eluhen kibra ve'eim. Gemilas chasodim, honoring a parent. Gemilas chesed, hachnosas orchim. Havashol meidom l'chavero, salmator keneged kulam. So our mission says meitivin lo, that you have it good in this world and you have a share in the world to come. Seems to be only, it's limited to the mitzvahs mentioned in Mishnah and Peah. Only these mitzvahs, it is good in this world and you have a share in the world to come. Meaning nothing is detracted, is subtracted from one's principle. And the Mishnah seems to be, no, for the mitzvah, meitivin lo, u'marichin lo. Om Rav Yehuda hochi kamar. So Rav Yehuda explains, this is what the Mishnah means to say. Kol osa mitzvah achas yiseir al zchu Yosef. Person has one mitzvah in addition to his merits, meitivin lo v'doma lo. Kamisha mekaymis kol haTorah kulo. Then it's considered as if he fulfilled the Torah in entirety. Meaning that if a person has the majority of his accomplishments are positive, he's 50-50, then he does one additional mitzvah, whatever it may be, then it's metivin lo, then he will have the good of this world, a long life, and a share in the world to come. Wait, but the Mishnah in Peah that it says if you do any one of these mitzvahs, it says mechlal, so what's the inference of that? So when it comes to these mitzvahs which are mentioned, mitzvah Peah, danach vilu chadinami, that even if the majority of one's deeds are negative, he has just this mitzvah alone, that's enough, that he should have a share in this world and the world to come. So he's a Russia. I mean, if the man's a Russia, because he honors his father, that's going to give him a share in the world to come, and also he should have good in this world. It's not possible. Omer Rav Shmai, or Rav Shmai answers, Lomar, it's to teach us, Shemhoisa shkula machras. Meaning, if a person, as the Rambam says, what's the basis for classification of tzaddik? Tzaddik, if the majority of your accomplishments are positive, that's tzaddik. So if a person's in the balance, 50% positive, 50% negative, and he does one mitzvah, whatever the mitzvah may be, any mitzvah, that sways the balance to the positive, he's tzaddik. Then he has a good in this world, good in the world to come. However, however, in regard to the mitzvahs which are mentioned in Peah, that even if one of these mitzvahs is part of the 50% of the positive, that's enough to sway the balance to the positive. that he should be classified as tzaddik. Meaning any other mitzvah, if 50-50, and among the 50 is not kibbud avim, it's not Talmud Torah, it's not whatever it may be, then you need an additional mitzvah to be classified as tzaddik. But in regard to any one of these mitzvahs, if they're part of the 50%, 50% is sufficient to sway the balance to be classified as tzaddik.
And the chosid, what's the difference?
We're not worried. You should be a tzaddik. We're talking about sharing the world to come. If you're a tzaddik, it's enough. Chosid is beyond that. Okay.
But what is the definition of qualified for?
There's no mention in Rambam or in the Gemara when we speak about or the Gemara Rosh Hashanah, when we speak of the three ledgers that are open on Rosh Hashanah. It says tzadikim gemurim, rishoyim beinunim. Doesn't speak about. There's a ledger called ledger of Hasidim, right? It's the ledger of tzadikim. No, it's within tzaddik. Is tzaddik? A chos is definitely a tzaddik. He's more than a tzaddik. It's like a glorified tzaddik is a chosid. Okay, so that's how we reconcile it. That our Mishnah, when it says you do even one mitzvah sways the balance. If it's 50-50, you're in the balance. Any mitzvah you do will sway the balance to the positive. But the Mishnah in the Peah, that it says if you do any one of these mitzvahs, you have the benefit in this world, the world to come. That's where one of these mitzvahs is part of the 50%. Although it's not a majority, nevertheless it's weighed in as if it is a majority. Raminu. We have a difficult. We learned in the Braiso. Ones whose merits are greater in number than his sins. Miriam lo. Hear this. He will be punished. We're talking punished in this world. A person his merits are greater than his sins, Miriam lo. He will be punished in this world. And he's seen as if he burnt the Torah its entirety. Lo shir mimena afilo sachas. And he's seen as if he did not leave one letter left. He burnt the Torah totally. There's no remnant, there's no trace of the Torah. This is the tzaddik. And the person whose sins are greater than his merits, meitiven lo. They do good for him in this world. And he's treated as if he fulfilled the Torah its entirety. And it's considered, he's treated as if he did not even delete one letter. Every letter of the Torah was fully addressed. That's how he's treated. He's treated like royalty in this world. The tzaddik is treated as if he destroyed the Torah in its entirety, as if he's a villain. And the Rasha is treated like royalty, as if he filled the Torah its entirety. So Rashi explains why. What does Hashem want for the tzaddik? There's no tzaddik who's perfect. Right? Shalom Mel said, there's no perfect tzaddik. So whatever infraction we have, Hashem would prefer, and the tzaddik prefer, that he should pay the debt in this world. So when he leaves this world, he should be fully purged and cleansed to receive immediately his share in the world to come, in Olam Haba. So therefore, it's Miriam lo. He's seen as a villain and treated like a villain, meaning in terms of punishment, because of what? Because Hashem wants that he should immediately enter into Olam Haba without suffering. The Rasha, on the other hand, because he has no share in the world to come, the Torah says, Misham l'shon al panav lavido. Hashem has to pay the Rasha in this world. So therefore, how's he treated? He's treated like royalty, because he has to be paid for his good deeds. So when he leaves this world, he goes into the oblivion. He has no share in the world to come. So how do we reconcile it? Our Mishnah says that mativan lo, and the Brisa seems to be, Hashem doesn't give him a good day. He has not even a good day, because he's paying the price. It's interesting. The Gemara says in Tainus that Shmuel HaNavi, in terms of his spiritual greatness, was the equivalent of Moshe and Aaron. That's how great he was. Not he was Navi, but in terms of his level of piety, he was the equivalent of Moshe and Aaron. That's why Korach had made the mistake. He thought it's impossible that he should be the one to die, because this is going to be his descendant. But yet, Shmuel HaNavi passed away at the age of 52. He was 52 years old when he passed away, Shmuel HaNavi, and he passed away on the day that he was born. Same day he was born, he passed away, Shmuel HaNavi, at the age of 52. The Gemara says, why? Why did he pass away? If he was such a great tzaddik, why did he pass away? The Gemara says, because Shaul, when he went and he had the battle with Amalek, he failed. And Hashem comes to Shmuel. Shmuel is the one who initially anointed Shaul to be the king, King Saul to be the king. Hashem says, I regret that I ever installed him as king, and he will be removed. And the kingdom will be given to someone who's more worthy than he. This was David. So, but if he's going to be removed, he has to die. So Shmuel, because it was his so-called, his student, his protege, Shmuel had difficulty with accepting. He was paying that his Talmud, his student, should die in his lifetime. So Hashem says, if that's the case, you must pass on. Hashem says, I don't want to pain Shmuel to see his Talmud pass away in his lifetime. So this is why Shmuel passed away at 52. Samara says, but if Shmuel passes away at 52, it's Chil Hashem. What are people going to say? Although he seems to be so holy, so it's a facade. Because otherwise, why did he pass away at 52? Because 52, relatively speaking, he looks like a young man. So the Gemara says, what? So the Gemara says that Hashem brought premature age upon him, and he looked aged beyond his years. And so when he passed away, people didn't know exactly how old he was. They thought he lived very long years. Because otherwise it would be a Chil Hashem. This is the Gemara. It would be a Chil Hashem if the tzaddik passes away and he looks as a young man. It would be a Chil Hashem. I mean, what we're saying, that's the conclusion of the Gemara. So here we're saying, we're quoting a Brisa, that since Hashem wants the tzaddik to enter immediately into Olam Haba, he wants that he should pay the debt in this world. Therefore, Meirian Lo. And they treat him as if he violated Torah in entirety, and he didn't leave a trace of the Torah. That's to that degree he destroyed the Torah. And the Russia, it's to the contrary. They treat him with kid gloves, as if he's royalty. But what about Chil Hashem? What about the Chil Hashem? How do we understand it? It's Chil Hashem. What are people going to say? You see the tzaddik. You see the way Hashem treats the tzaddik. He treats him like a villain. And the person who goes and violates his word, he treats him as if he's deserving of the whole world. Right? How do we reconcile it? Right?
It's a terrible example, a terrible template for people living and seeing.
On one hand, when it comes to the punishment of Moshe and Aaron, we have these words of our Chazal that Hashem is extremely strict and demanding of the Chassidim. And that, in fact, is a kiddush Hashem. And that they accept what happens.
Yeah, but I'm quoting. I'm quoting the Gemara. Gemara says if Shmuel would pass away and people would be aware how young he is, it would be a Chil Hashem, because people say, you know, the Chil Hashem. They say he's not what we thought he would be. What we thought he was. We thought he was a holy man. Now we see if Hashem took him early, evidently he's not as holy as we thought he was.
We have other things like Hashem does take tzaddikim as a way to, let's say, he bears the sins of his generation. That is a concept. We see.
No, you're right. You're right, 100%.
So, the
Okay,
reason he passed
you
away
just
is because of
good. So you're increasing. You're strengthening the question. Okay, but why is the Chil Hashem? Why is the Chil Hashem? So I was thinking that in last week's in the Pirkei Avos it says that today we don't see Shalvas Harushoyim and we don't see the suffering of tzaddikim. So the Rav says, the Partanura explains that in Golus at one time tzaddikim suffered tremendously. And Rishoyim were treated exceptionally well. But since we've been in Golus, the Russia doesn't have his tranquility, and the tzaddik does not have his level of suffering, like at one time. So the way I understood it was, before we were deserving of Golus, there was a degree of clarity. So people understood that there's liability. So the tzaddik, so people had that a perspective and had a belief and had an understanding. So when the tzaddik suffers, there's no question. It makes sense. It fits the profile. When the Russia, he's treated well, it's also, that's the payoff, that he's going to the oblivion. Once we get a golos, things already, things are distorted. So because they're distorted, therefore the tzaddik doesn't suffer the way he used to suffer. And the Russia doesn't have the tranquility that he used to have. Because again, then the question becomes an untenable question. That's the reason why things changed. For this reason, exactly what we're saying now. But the question with Shmuel is not a question. Because, factually, Shmuel was so special. If he passes away a young man, but why did he pass away a young man? Let him suffer. Why is Hashem taking him? There's a difference between suffering and being taken. Right? Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, he only had a kaf charubim. Right? He was an exceptional tzaddik. He only lived on a handful, a morsel of food per week. Right? It's not a question. He's a tzaddik. It's not a question. Tzaddik doesn't need more. Or Nochem ish gamzu, the way he suffered, the way the Gemara describes later in Tainus, is his situation, that he was blind, that he was paralyzed, and he was covered with all types of boils, his body. That's the way he suffered. This is Nochem ish gamzu. He was Reb Kiva's Rebbe. Why? Why wasn't that a chil Hashem? He should have been concerned. It's chil Hashem. A man as holy as he should suffer to such a degree. Okay? So the question, how do we reconcile a Mishnah with this Brisa? The Brisa says that the tzaddik, it's merian lo.
How is it that people that see it as a Hashem?
No. He aged. No, that's why he prematurely aged. It should not be seen as that.
But it wasn't known how old he
No,
was?
it wasn't known how old he was.
After he passed, it wasn't known.
No. Chazal no. No, they didn't speak about that he passed away young man.
People know how old a person is.
Your grandmother has a birth certificate? I doubt it. Your grandmother had a birth certificate? No. Nobody knows. Besides, let me ask you a question. Every year, you sit at the Seder. Hari Yanika ben Shivim Shana. He's 18 years old yesterday. He looks like an 18-year-old. All of a sudden today he looks like a 70-year-old man. Once a person looks like he's 70 years old, he has another presence. He's related to differently. But we know he's 18. He looks like a 70-year-old person. A person looks aged. He's aged. You say he's 52. It's irrelevant. The question is not the same question any longer.
Rabbi, I understand that a tzaddik suffers this world so that he wouldn't suffer in Olam Haba. But what about the Rasha? Why does he have a good life? He could suffer in this life and the next life.
No, because if he did a good deed in this world, God has to pay him. He has to be rewarded. Any goodness he did, he has to be paid.
But some people have no goodness.
No, there's no such. That's your evaluation, right? That's your evaluation. Maybe that he fed the cat, that's a good deed. He has to be paid for that.
But he's paid really exaggerated.
It's not exact. No, that only tells you the value of a mitzvah. That tells you the value of a mitzvah. So you could imagine, so the person, the tzaddik who does the mitzvah with a whole different level. So what is the value of that? Omer Abaye, the Chavetz Chaim, we speak about the Dubna Magid, that the way he would present and explain something with a moshel, it's like one of a kind. But if you read the Chavetz Chaim, his writings, he gives mishalim, he gives allegories, which are the equivalent of the Dubna Magid, no less. And to bring out this point, what he's speaking about now, he explains it this way. He says there was this minister who he had actually spoken disrespectfully to the king. And the king says, I'm going to condemn him to a level of suffering which is unimaginable. Okay, so what does he do? So he orders they should build a palace, furnished like a palace, and have regal garments made for this man. But the palace has windows from the floor to the ceiling. on all sides that everyone's able to peer into the palace to see this man exactly what his situation is within the palace. However, there's no food in the palace. And people hear he's having regal garments made, the equivalent of the king's garments and everything. He goes into the palace. All his peers, the other ministers, are envious. They can't understand it. What kind of punishment is this? This is paradise. Okay? He's there for a day, for 2 days, for 3 days, and people are watching every move he makes within the palace. All the furnishings fit for a king. And a week passes, he's already starting to look pale, and eventually he starts tearing at his own flesh, and he starts eating his own flesh. And people witness this, and they watch this, and they can't. It's so bizarre and so painful. Eventually, the man loses all his human functions. He looks like somebody who was devoured by a beast, and eventually he dies there. So he says, a person, a Rasha, who gets a share in the world to come, in this world, the Tivano, he's eating his own flesh. That's exactly what it is, because ultimately, at the end of the day, there's nothing left. That's the Chofetz Chaim. That's the Metivin law is the Marian law. The good they give to him, that's the oath. There's no greater curse than that itself. I said yesterday, this past week's parsha, I once said this. It says Aaron passed away. When did Aaron pass away in the desert? When did Aaron pass away? It says they came to Edom and they asked for passage. Edom says, you're not going through my territory. It says they came towards them and they took a circuitous route. Soon afterwards, it says, Hashem says to Moshe, Aaron must pass away. So Rashi cites Chazal, that why does Aaron have to die? Because since they were exposed to a Russia, Edom, Esav, therefore the deeds of the tzaddik are breached. So because they were exposed to Edom, that's why Aaron has to die. What does one thing have to do with another? Why does Aaron have to die? Because they were exposed to Edom. We don't find the Jews failed to any degree that they were impacted by this level of exposure. So what does it mean? The actions of the tzaddik are breached. What does anybody have to say? Howard. No, it says Aaron is dying because since we came upon the territory of Edom and we were exposed to Russia, our actions are breached. How were they breached? The Jews didn't sin. But it's certain. But we don't see any degree, any level of spiritual deterioration or regression over here.
No, but there was a risk.
No, it says the actions are breached. The actions of tzaddik are breached because they were exposed to the Russia. Yeah, but factually nothing happened. Moshe Rabbeinu was told not. Okay, so I'll tell you what I said. What I said was something similar to here. The Jews in Europe in the Holocaust, why did they perish? Were they less tzaddikim than the Jews in the western in the northern hemisphere? Chas v'sholom. There was a midas adin on Europe. On America, there wasn't a midas adin. When there's the attribute of justice, you cannot be perfect enough. So if you can't be perfect enough, so tzaddik, not tzaddik, everybody perishes. Okay? Now, what is Edom? Edom is Esav. This world is Esav's world. The world, the physical, material world is Esav's. But how could it be his? Is he so perfect? No, the answer is no. Because God rewards him. Any good deed he does, he's fully paid in this world. So when the Russia receives his Olam Haba in Olam Hazeh, that's the ultimate Midas Adin. That is Midas Adin. So what's Midas Adin for the Gentile? Midas Adin for the Gentile is that he should not have a share in the world to come. So how does it manifest itself? In the material payout. That's how it manifests itself. When Klal Yisrael came to the territory of Edom, what were they under what level of judgment? Midas Adin. If it's Midas Adin, you can't be perfect enough. Therefore, the actions of the tzaddik are breached. They're not seen perfect any longer. Therefore, that's the reason why Aaron passed away at that moment. Because even though, but Edom, they have everything in the world. But everything in the world for them, that's Midas Adin. So when you enter into their hemisphere, you're under Midas Adin. What's Midas Adin for a Jew? Not the material. Midas Adin for the Jew is that you're actually punished, you lose your life. That's the reason why Aaron passed away at that time.
So he was potentially polluted.
No, not polluted. It's a different level of evaluation. It's a different evaluation. It's a much more extreme level of evaluation. There's no rachmim. Hashem will not tolerate the slightest degree of infraction. Not that there's a new infraction. It's the record. The record is examined at a different level. It's a different level of scrutiny of the record. That's the reason why Aaron passed away. No. That we know from Miriam. Okay? So we have a problem. How do we reconcile the Mishnah with this Brisa? The Mishnah says a person has one mitzvah, it's meitivin lo. And the Brisa says that the tzaddik, marian lo, that he actually suffers. And we see it as if he actually burnt and destroyed the Torah in its totality. Omer Abaye, so Abaye answers, Masnisen de Ovdan le Yom Tov Yom Bish. Meaning, when a person prepares for a banquet, sometimes you have to, the people who work to prepare for the banquet, they slave for weeks to prepare for the great banquet, the banquet for the king. So you say, well, what are you doing? It may be difficult now, but it's in preparation for the future. So it's Yom Tov. That he's suffering this world, that's preparation for the Yom Tov, for the holiday that's going to be in the future. It's Yom Tov Yom Bish. In its essence, it's Yom Tov. This is the ultimate. Even though it's painful, but the pain is for the sake of preparation for the Yom Tov that's meant to come in the future. That's how he's reconciling the Mishnah. What metivin lo means doesn't mean in the actual material benefit in this world. Yom Tov, metivin lo means ultimately in the world to come.
How does it connect with Aaron?
He's saying the Mishnah and the Bryce are saying the same thing. No. That is Aaron. That is Aaron. Aaron's a tzaddik. Well, why is he being? That's a midas hadin. No, I was only bringing the same concept.
The Gemara doesn't say what the record said. These are two different systems, DNA and Rachamim.
No, because the Gemara,
Deliberately.
I mean, factually. You have Rabbi Yudan Nossi. We do find midas hadin, right? The whole story with the stone in the urinary tract. He suffered 13 years. Because he had said something which wasn't with sufficient compassion for the calf that was going to be slaughtered. Right? That's definitely midas hadin. The Gemara says that's Yisur and Shalava. Right? That's exceptional to increase his level of reward, the Gemara says. Rava says something interesting. Homani Rabbi Yaakov. This Baraisa here, this is Rabbi Yaakov. The Omar, Schar mitzvah bayal maleka. It's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Schar mitzvah bayal maleka. There's no reward in this world. No reward whatsoever. The Tanya. Rabbi Yaakov Omer ein lucha kol mitzvah u mitzvah she'ksuv ba'torah shman schora b'tzido she'en tchias ha'mesin tluibo. There's no mitzvah in the Torah where the Torah mentions its reward. Where does the Torah mention? It says, you honor your father and mother, you will have arichas yomim. V'rechta yomim. That has relevance to tchias ha'mesin. What is the ultimate longevity? Is referring to olam haba. Means resurrection. Olam haba, the future world. B'kibur avein ksiv l'man yirichin yomecho l'man yitav loch. B'shluch hakan ksiv, regarding sending away the mother bird, not taking it. L'man yitav loch v'rechta yomim. So if that's the case, what should be? If arichas yomim means in the material world, good life and long years in the physical sense, he says, Hashreisha amalu aviv, alayla biro. Father says to his son, ascend to the upper heights, v'havi legozolos, and bring me some chicks. V'ola lebira v'sholach haseim. So the only way he's able to take the chicks, he had to send away the mother bird. V'notla abonim, and he takes the chicks, and he sent away the mother's bird. U'b'chaziroso, and coming down from the ladder, Nafalo mes, he falls to his death. So here we have compounded. He's doing kibbur aveim, he's honoring his father, and he's sending away the mother bird. So the question is, Rav Yaakov has a question. Heichan tovas yomov shel zeh, heichan arichas yomov shel zeh. Where's the good days and where's the longevity? That's Rav Yaakov's question. So evidently, what does that confirm? Elo l'man yitav loch lo b'shkulo tov. When the Torah says it will be good for you, it means the world that's in its essence is good. So that confirms when the Torah says arichas yomim or yitav loch, it doesn't mean in the material, in the physical world. It means the spiritual world. Well, this is the story. But this is we'll see. Rabbi Yaakov was Acher's nephew. We'll see in a moment. He's Rabbi Yaakov's. He's Acher's nephew. This is the story of Acher. We're going to see in a moment. Samar says, same story. Samar says, "V'dilma lafochi avo." He says, how does Rabbi Yaakov know this? Rabbi Yaakov is saying this. So now the Gemara thinks Rabbi Yaakov is speaking on a theoretical level. If this would happen, how would we understand the Torah? Samar says, "V'dilma lafochi," maybe that's not reality. It's not going to happen. If a person honors his father or sends away the mother bird, when it says he will have a good life and long days, it means this will not occur. This will not happen. Samar says, you know how Rabbi Yaakov knows this? Rabbi Yaakov Masa Chozo. Rabbi Yaakov witnessed this. He witnessed the father instructing his son to retrieve the bird, the bird, and so on, and he fell to his death. So Rabbi Yaakov had said that this clearly confirms when the Torah says those words, it doesn't mean in the physical sense, it means in the spiritual sense. To be continued.